podcast. You got your two hosts. See
I'm
that?
Liz.
And I'm Shara. And we don't sing, but we singing. Because
Hey,
we
I
happy.
practiced that all week.
You did. You did
No.
that. First of all, Liz ain't practiced nothing. Liz been busy. Okay. When
Well,
I tell
I
you
I
somebody
have been
working,
busy. And so much so, people who are watching YouTube could probably see that my hair's still wet from.
it is, but I thought you was doing like the J-Lo look. Isn't that the look?
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the J-Lo
Baby.
Bronx look on the 6th. Although people were mad at J-Lo in a little bit. No, I'm just
I know.
kidding.
I know there is a little
Well,
funky little conversation about it, but it doesn't mean that her hair didn't look like that though.
no, this is true. There is, but you know what I'm gonna say, right? If she
Mm,
wasn't a Latina woman, would we be having this conversation?
listen,
Probably not.
I
I
think
just
I
say
think that's
that.
the conversation we need to have. Listen, speak your piece. Speak your piece.
Yeah. So, anyway, Shara, how are you? Today is a special episode because it's just us.
It's just us, like
We
not
typically,
just us, but
but
like us.
just us.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we always like hype up our guest episodes, and I just don't think that we hype up our solo episodes.
Well, you're right. You're right. Because guess what? Really, what happens is y'all is invited into our conversation. So you're welcome, right? Because this is what we do normally, right? This is our conversation. We just sharing it with you. No, I'm just kidding. This is actually curated for you. And you're going to hear a little bit about us. But you know what? To be honest with you, when you asked me before, like, how are you doing? I was like, I didn't have an answer because everything has been moving super fast. I was like, ooh, let me get present for 2 seconds. Oh, please don't ignore this whole get up. I got an event right after this. So I'm like dressed to the nines. I am. If you
I
get
mean,
on
the earrings
audio,
are
look at
fab.
this. I got my dream of
No,
genie too. Look at this, genie.
y- I mean, it's cute. Like, what are the little, there's like little jewels
It's
inside
jewels
there.
in
I
there.
love it. I love it. I
It's
like the
boho
jewels
chic.
up here.
Yes, it's called boho
Boho
chic, honey.
chic.
I'm boho and
Oh,
chic.
so what's the
Mhm.
outfit gonna look like?
So listen, the outfit is very much so business, corporate business attire, which is like, okay, listen, we could be going anywhere from a church to a special occasion at some event center to potentially, maybe, unfortunately, a funeral and or a work event. So it's all the outfits for all those occasions. So today I have on that, trying to dress up enough so I don't out too shine today because it is a luncheon. A lot of professionals are going to be there. Sometimes when I bring all the colors, they be like, okay, wait a minute. They don't hear me, they see me. I'm like, I need you to hear what I'm saying because I need all your coin so that Liz and I can dream up these things that we have in our head. So yeah, I don't have time for that. So like, let me just minimize but accessorize. Okay.
Yeah,
See?
I'm going plain today. I'm just doing white t-shirt. That's it. But my colorful earrings that you gave me.
Always. Those are so cute. I
Always.
love them. I love them. This lady talked me into it, just so you know. That was the backstory to those earrings. The lady was like, "Oh, hey, I make jewelry." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's great." She's
We
like,
love
"Oh,
it. We
well,
love
let
it when
me
y'all make
see."
jewelry, when y'all make purses, when y'all make shoes.
Ooh, she pulled me to the
You
side and
know,
opened up that goodness. I said, "Okay, wait a minute, wait a minute." So this is how she got me. She's like, I know oftentimes people don't think about buying something for themselves. Maybe you have like a sister or somebody else that you want to give these to. I was like,
she knew
well
you.
played, sis.
She knew
Well
you.
played.
She saw you and she was like,
Period.
I know how to. My mom does that. My mom has her own
Zell.
business and she does a lot of like horoscope things. So she
Mm.
changes the way she approaches people depending on when they were born
Uh,
and or when their birthday month is, and so she'll just change her way of being and or the way her approach to them, and I'm like, "Mom, that's not real." And she's like, "Yes, it is." And I mean, she's
Clearly.
always like on point with everyone, right? Including me. And I'm not like, why? I mean, I know I'm your daughter and all, but still, right?
First of all, if it works for her, listen, I know some people who I got a cousin who is like that, real into it. I mean, it does hit 90% of the time. It's that 10% that I'll be like, okay, y'all, so
I
we
mean, it's
know it's
part
not
of
a
your
flawless
strategy,
system.
right? It's part of your
Yeah.
business strategy. And as long as you're consistent with it, like who's to say that something isn't going to work? And sometimes it's like, let's move away from all these traditional things, right? Like, I think so many people are forgetting. So this is a good topic, Share, to maybe we can talk about
Uh-huh.
this week. So I approached one of my really, really good friends that is also a coach. And because I failed miserably this week. Okay. We had a big fall, and I posted it on LinkedIn this week about my failure. But this was post reflection, right? So we're all good. So I reached out to a friend of mine. I said, "Look, I need help on XYZ. Can you do you have like 30 minutes to just give me a little feedback? Because again, like who gives you feedback and who do you trust to give you feedback?" So then we started chit-chatting about how hard we are on ourselves and how, we are in this grind hustle culture.
Mhm.
And as freelancers, as entrepreneurs, as business, as consultants and coaches, we oftentimes we go into this thinking that we're going to dictate our own life and that we are not going we're going to be the drivers of our own bus, that we're going to be more independent. And what ends up happening is that you end up going into this space where the customer's always right.
Mhm.
And you constantly are questioning your skills, talents, and why you went in this, right? And I think what we ultimately came down to it is that we're so stuck into this grind and hustle culture that we actually forgot how to just be.
Mm.
No checklist, no spreadsheet, and I know that really hurts my little heart because I like spreadsheet things for fun. Um, but just being, like, we don't ever give our permissions to just be. And it's like we always feel like we have to do something, even in the self-care route. In the
Mhm.
self-care route, we're always like, did you journal? Did you meditate? Did you yoga? Did you walk? Did you go talk to a friend? Did you do it's always a task list. What about just not doing any of it? Just
Yeah.
sitting in the backyard, letting the sunshine just fall on your face, just being like, just sitting there, taking 5 minutes just to breathe, right? And it's like we really wrap ourselves into an identity in this grind and work culture and work hustle identity. And I'm really questioning, you know, should should I have this identity? For such a long time it was so big and such a big driver in my life. And you know what? I think that identity stayed with me because the fear of what would happen if I didn't have that. So that's what I'm exploring this
I
week.
get you're not gonna leave us right there and talk about what happens if I didn't have it. Answer the question, hon. The acquired minds want to know.
Nothing, Shara. Nothing is going to happen if I do not have this identity, if I don't place this identity with so much importance. What is going to happen though is going to allow for room for other things. And you know when there's a problem when you see other people thriving, not in work, in life, where they're thriving and you're like, man, why can't I do that? Like I've worked so hard. Why can't I do that? Yeah, why can't you? So yeah, that's gonna nothing's gonna happen. Honestly, nothing will happen.
Mm-hmm.
I can still bring it back because I do enjoy working. I do love creating. But I think we get into this grind and culture and hustle culture. Um, because I know, like generational wealth is really important to me. My legacy in and how I open the doors for other people is very important for me. But I can't there's no there's no benefit if I do all of that and I'm burnt out or I'm resentful
Yeah.
or, I have immense regret. So, yeah, that's I don't have all the answers, but that's where I'm at.
Listen, first and foremost, thanks for telling the listeners because I get this insider information all the time. Second of all, I'm proud of you because one of the things that you're known for is moving fast and doing so many things, and people are amazed. And I love to hear you talk about a new space of thriving that doesn't require, you spinning 10,000 plates, and really focusing on what's most important to you. And also figuring out what gives you, and you didn't use this word, but I know this is your word for the year, joy. So I'm happy for you. Now you're going to have to come back and tell the listeners what were some of the things that came up for you and some of your outcomes as you explore this new space. But I must say, I have been trying to figure out present for the last few weeks because what I don't know what it is, but some things do not stay consistently serving me for as long as it used to. Like, sometimes you find that one thing that's just like, okay, this thing works for me. At one point, it was cycling. At one point, it was getting up, having my lemon hot water, and reading my article before I start my work. Like, it was all those things. It was getting up, going on my walk, and all those things would bring me back to center. None of those things work right now. Like, literally, they're a little bit annoying when I think about doing them, or when I do them, they do not serve me anymore. And so I'm constantly trying to figure out ways to stay present and find something that I can hold on to so I can make sure I'm in the moment. And people are like, oh, well, that seems like work instead of just being. I was like, yeah, because you have to intentionally turn off those knobs that's on in your head and in your body so that you can make sure that you're present. Like I have to be like, okay, so let's center. Let's close my eyes. Let me breathe. Let me do all the things. But sometimes I just need to like in moments like this, because I spend so much time with you, even though we're thousands and thousands of miles apart, I have to make sure that every moment that we connect, that I'm focused on this interaction and not the five other things after this moment. And that has been really helpful for me, like our relationship, because I know that your time and our time together, specifically on our time zones, and the time that we have is so important that I listen in, I center in, like I'm like, this is what we doing right now, all this time, right? And I have just transferred that to other spaces. So right after this, I'm going to an event. It's going to be 100% that event, whatever's happening in that moment, whatever that experience is going to be. And that's how I've been doing it. And in the past, I would have been so hard on myself because I'm not, doing multiple things and handling multiple things at one time. Like, instead of just being in that one moment. So I can't wait to see what you find, girl, because we need to know because you need to give us the cheat sheet when you done, because woo.
Wait a minute. Well, let me just back up a little bit because you just shared a very vulnerable moment with us.
Don't go back, Liz. They heard it. They can rewind it. Don't do it. Don't give them two more.
You do
Don't give
this
them
to me
two
all the
more.
time. So I'm just grateful and I'm privileged that I get to do this because it's amazing. You know, I think that's so powerful, Shara, like because I don't know if it's our generation or society or our environments that constantly ask of us to do multiple things at once.
Mhm.
Because honestly, your core isn't not being focused on the person in front of you. So you're a person that is very in the moment and very present. I never get anything other than that. And so it's interesting to me that you feel and you're so hard on yourself outside of us, outside of that current moment that you're like I could have done better.
For sure.
And so how are you turning that back on you? being present for yourself?
You know, first and foremost, I'm going to take this coaching moment and embrace it with a hug. Just wanted you to know you're not going to, it's not, I'm not going to run away on this day of the date and time. I'm going to embrace it. And the former coaches out there, y'all know what I mean, because when coaches start coaching you, you'd be like, okay, for real though, this is what we doing. Okay, so yes, what am I doing? I am actively spending time with myself, and that means that, Shara, I'm known, like the Shara people know, like, oh, she's extroverted. She don't meet no stranger, talk. She always having a good time, make sure everybody good. That part of me is so true and honest. But I've been spending more time with myself and my thoughts to make sure that what's important to me is at the core of what I'm doing. And so I don't know how to explain it other than, like, I just daily check in with myself. Like, before I say yes to something, I pause now, which in the past I'll be like, okay, let's do it. Boom, curiosity just leads you anywhere. But in this case, I'm like, curiosity plus what's important to me, not necessarily all my value system, but like in this moment, what do I need?
Yeah.
Is the piece. Curiosity plus what do I need in this moment? And that has been my equation to what value and what meaning is. I'll give you a prime example. Last night I went to an event and I was like, the goal was there. Like the goal was to like meet people and network. But when I got to that event, I wasn't full to do it. Like I wasn't full up to be that person. So what I ended up doing was I ended up looking at the exhibits and all that good stuff, and I found a person, like a person who was there as well, and her and I just ended up just talking and chatting. I knew in that moment I couldn't be that big personality in that big space. I could only give one person all my energy in that moment because I wanted to be there, but I couldn't show up that way. So once again, I didn't stop what I was doing, but I did curtail it to the energy and what I needed for myself to be able to enjoy it without feeling like I'm not being true to myself and I'm just performing.
I'm gonna cry. That's so
Don't
beautiful. That
cry, because that's why I
that
ain't want to talk about it. Because you do this, and then I don't know. Here we go.
you know, no, this
Listen.
is so beautiful. Share, this is such a moment. Like, oh my gosh. Because we very much are a values and boundaries people. Like we this is how we coach. This is how we guide our own lives. But oftentimes, and I think you just really opened up a box for everyone, including myself, of all right, well, you have this value system. How do you then apply it? So being present, right, as your value at the moment. And to your point, it's like we don't have to think about our whole entire value system, that whole ecosystem that makes what's important to us. But how do I honor the very, very important things in my life and honor myself and honor those around me? And I love that you added like you made it into an equation because, hello, accountant. I love that everything
You
balances.
love the word
I love a little
equation. Oh
equation.
my
But
goodness.
it's true. It's so true. It is so true because oftentimes, let's say we have our service hat on or we have our legacy hat on
Mm-hmm.
and you think about, sometimes our values like push us, they get in a place in our life that it pushes us to maybe not show up exactly how we want to.
Mm-hmm.
They may and it always makes me think about CDI, shout out to CDI, where they talk
Yeah,
about
baby.
your North Star and how it is both your power and it also can hold you back. So you have
Yeah.
to assess and know when that value or that superpower of yours is going to hinder you or it's going to help you. How is it
Yeah.
supporting me in this moment? And I think we're so busy being so fast to your point, right? We're so busy being so fast and like what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And I think maybe there's some underlying fears there that are guiding us, or just the
For sure.
discomfort for being.
For sure.
And so I think, I mean, just okay, one more curious question. Like, how do you, because I know what I see sitting here, and I know what I've heard over
Yeah.
our voice notes and stuff. How does that make you feel having that control over your value system and you?
Liz, I'm not paying you for this session. I just want to let you know. And everybody listening, she's not getting a coin for this. I'm just letting y'all know. Y'all just getting a free masterclass here. So what how do I feel, to be honest? I feel like on some days I'm absolutely so happy for the growth that I've had and that I'm able to show up this way and that other people can appreciate the transformation because I've been really intentional about it. Other days I'm absolutely exhausted and annoyed by the growth. Like it was so much easier to just be like, and no, you know what I mean? Like, let
Okay,
me
I
give you
wasn't
all.
expecting that, y'all.
Listen, you asked, I'll be honest. So listen, some of those parts of me that I'll be like, okay, so and no, I ain't got time for that. This version requires me it just requires me to be more active in my life. And I've found so many times that I was inactive, meaning inactive meaning I was either responding or opting out or just going to the extreme of it because those are like easy defaults for me to kind of navigate, right? Like I know the outcome if I show up this way because it's like it's going to get an immediate reaction from somebody else or another situation. And I'm telling you, slowing down and just being able to be like, what do I really want for me and what energy do I have for this and like centering myself a little bit more than making it about others. It's really just a lot of work. So I'd be like, Noy, like, man, listen, when this gonna get easier? When I ain't gotta go through this like pause and think and move and meditate. Like when I'm gonna get to a point when I just be like, ooh, Shara, no. I know right now. Like versus this literally solid effort that just feels like a lot of work. And let me tell you an example. First of all, family, turn this off right now because I'm about to talk about granddaddy. I don't want no problems. So my grandfather, as y'all know, he's in his 90s, 94 years old, love him to death, right? Shout out granddaddy, even though he don't listen to this, he thinks this is a radio show. Let's not go there. It's okay. After these many years, this is a lot to ask somebody to watch TV and the radio at the same time. So here we are. He, at his age, sometimes when we eat dinner, like we can eat together, my grandfather is closing his eyes when he chews. You know what I mean? And when I thought about it, at first I was like, is Granddaddy falling asleep? And one day I asked him, I said, Granddaddy, why you close your eyes when you chewing your food? He said, I've been chewing food for 94 years. Like, point blank to the point. Like, okay, listen, I don't know what you want from me. This is something that I've been doing for 90 something years. And it is something that I don't need no active effort. I can do this thing in a way in which I want to do it. And he was just, I mean, it just came out just like that. And I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. It shouldn't be that level of effort because you have been practicing this thing so much. I want to get
Yes.
to that place where I'm like,
Yes.
with my granddad, eating dinner with my eyes closed, enjoying my food. And it's not active effort, it is automatic. And I get to enjoy the experience how I want to enjoy it, like he was with his eyes closed. So I'm like,
He's
here
always
you go.
teaching us something. He's
I was,
always teaching us
I
something.
know. And he knew he taught something too, because he was like, and that's it. I said, don't that's it me, Granddad. Don't that's it me. Don't just be dropping them gems, right? Like, okay, thank you, but thank you, It
That's
was
beautiful. That's
but
so
think about it.
powerful. Yeah, that's super powerful. I mean, I don't think we'll ever, I think as we're becoming more beautiful and wiser, I
Okay,
think we're
beautiful. I heard that.
I mm, I think I think we are like peeling back those layers and really getting to the core of us. And it is going to be very uncomfortable for a lot of the times because again, it's those chapters, right? It's these chapters of our lives, like this book. And I'm in like series. I'm like a series that never ends, like all the Rocky movies. That's who I am. Uh,
I love it.
uh, Adrian. Um,
Adrian.
it's weird.
That
I
was
probably
Creed. I don't think they do the Adrian thing now.
Probably not. But like I think as we get to know each other and get to know ourselves better, I think we're peeling those layers back. And I look at my mom and I look at her, all my tias and my mom's best friends and all the people around her. They all have gone through so much and now they are walking in their power
Come
and they
on.
they have their voices and they know what their boundaries are and they are unapologetic. They
Yeah.
really, really are. But you know what, Shara? I don't want to wait until I'm 65 to get
Come
there.
on. Tell the
I want
truth.
it. I want that now. And I don't think you have to go through all that BS. I do think that there can be a way where you do have to be more thoughtful, just like you're discovering this being present, because that's been a core value of you for so many years,
Yeah.
right? So many years that's been a core value. And it's beautiful seeing that journey, how every year or every month or every new chapter of yours, you're peeling back a new layer of this. And it's really becoming something that you're like, you know what? This is going to serve me and it's going to serve me in this way. And
Yeah.
I just think that's just so beautiful. So I know it's annoying, but
Girl, yes. It's so annoying. Listen, if anybody out there agree with me, please, 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 please tell me. Tell me send us a note. Because I do sometimes feel like, I'm surrounded by people um who are so excited about growth. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I don't want to talk about growing because I have to do that every day and I'm so exhausted with the effort. But I'm never gonna be exhausted with the outcome. That's for sure. I just feel like sometimes it's so much work and you're right. I honestly can't wait for that moment. And you're right. I do want it sooner than later. I don't want to be, 90 or 60. All right. I want it now. But I also don't know. And I'll be a real kid and vulnerable here. I don't know if I have the ability to slow down the life. Like if I think about the people who are really in living in that way we're talking about, like completely in their present, completely in their moment, their life is a little bit leaner in activity than mine, right? So I don't know if I'm supposed to be at that place where I'm not in that level of like my life
you're
is not laid
creating
out in that way.
you're creating your own space because it's never going to be the same because some of the things that you do in your life really truly bring you joy and they are again another core part of you, which is being in service of others.
Yeah,
That's why when you started talking about being present, you firstly talked about being present with others as
sure.
opposed to being present with yourself, right?
That is true.
So I think you're going to figure it out. You're going to figure out this new life and this new world for you. And I'm so excited. I'm very excited for you. And I'm also super proud of you. And also, the hair is giving to this moment. Like, I feel
Really?
yeah,
Ah!
like royalty, like a royalty. It
Listen.
should just be like, yeah, I'm just being
Hey.
queen here.
Hey, if you're not on YouTube, you don't know. If you don't know, you don't know. First of all, thank you, sis. I appreciate that because really, before this, I'm not gonna lie. If you look at some of the videos before, I not the probably the last video we put up, I was just like, I was in a little bit of a like funk, but not about my life or anything, but like, sometimes when your confidence isn't at 100%, you need something to kind of jolt you back into like your being. And I honestly don't know what messes with my confidence, quite honestly. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's exhaustion, quite frankly. It's like, okay, I can't have all these things spinning, so I don't got time for confidence. Please, somebody tell me psychologically if what's the science behind it, but I don't know. But sometimes I just get in these moments where I'm like, man, I got to show up in front of these folks and these people, and I don't feel 100% like myself. Like I don't feel attractive, or I don't feel like my body looks the way I want it to look. Like I got all these things running in my head. And then all of a sudden, you gotta be on. You know how it is. Like right now, you gotta be on. But I don't know what it is, but like, listen, I think what has happened, my heritage, my ancestry, given that Juneteenth has passed, all that done sped up inside of me. And I was like, Chelsea, I need from the Beauty Project, by the way, meow, my stylist. I said, I need something that's going to jolt me back into myself. Like, I don't know, just give me something. And this is what she came up with. And at first I was like, girl, they're gonna be talking about me. They're gonna be like, you look like I dream of Genie, like granting wishes or something. You know what I mean? Then she was just like, but wait.
Who didn't want to be I'm dreaming I dream with Jenny? Who didn't?
I know, no, but okay,
I
but then
wanted to be
again,
her.
I did too. Like I love the outfit, but I never had the midsection for it. But if one day I
No,
did,
not one day. Today.
girl, I ain't let this thing loose out in the world without no way. This thing gotta stay inside. It's not gonna go outside. But yeah, no. So wait, Liz, before let's get off of that. But I will say, for those of you out there for confidence, like I have found that I need a jolt to help me with that. And sometimes you just be in the gray. I don't know what it is. It's not necessarily gray in life. Sometimes you could be in spreadsheets or presentations too much. Like I wasn't down. I was just not, I didn't feel that jolt, right? So sometimes you just need to shake it up. And in this case, hair, which I think a lot of people, specifically Black women, we find that it is something very therapeutic for us to do, which connects us back to a long history. Go talk to Chat GPT or look at your, latest Juneteenth documentary or something. But you can see how those moments and that connectivity, being in those environments, getting your hair done and changing it up was an opportunity to define, disrupt what your circumstance was. And I think that has maintained for me historically, right? Like to kind of
I
give
love
me the,
that. Thank you for teaching me something because and I think, I got an idea. Because
uh-oh,
I'm sorry, my Texas came out, y'all.
girl,
She comes
A-Leaf. Where
she
that
comes
A-Leaf
she
come
she
from?
comes out a lot. You know what? I think
Idea.
that's a beautiful practice to start doing. So I think we will model that in our podcast and be like, "How present are you today?" And you know what? If that
Ooh,
oh,
I
and if
like
you
it.
like, you like,
Don't just drop that on me like that. Ooh, you need a
you like
trailer for that.
are you present? Because here's the thing, and what came up for me. Sometimes, and maybe this may answer your question. I don't know, but for me, this is what came up as I was listening to you right now. And I'm very guilty of multitasking. I'm such a bad multitasker, but yet I do it anyways. Thank you, special, lovely, beautiful brain of mine. I think that we could model this on asking ourselves and each other, right? How present are you today? And if it means, because we do this with some of our guests, like we are real humans, we are real people. If it means that the expectation ends up shifting and we're like, actually, today's not the day that we can record, or
Mm,
and I think we really started honoring that for a while because we took a very long break and then we'd come back,
yeah.
release an episode, and then take a break, and we were like, we're not here to be with the algorithm. Maybe it was our heart, soul, and minds telling us like it's not the moment right now. And maybe
Mm.
that's the question, is like, how present are you available for Friday?
Ooh, ooh.
Hmm.
That's true. And honestly, I wasn't expecting that. That was deep. That was deep. I do think so, because guess what? Like when I talk about why we're not, or we haven't recorded, I never speak to anything other than the fact that we are being present in our real lives. So I'm like, yeah, and I can't wait to tell people like, and Liz is doing this, and this is what
But
I'm
w
doing.
but
Like,
we're always busy though. It's
yeah,
not like but it's busy. We
yeah.
always come on and we talk about how we haven't put out an episode because we're busy.
That
because we're
is true.
grinding.
I'm
We're
honoring the busy. That's not,
we're
yeah, I see
honoring
it.
the busy,
I
and
see it
maybe,
now.
like, maybe this is our selfish time. So, audience, I invite you to listen to our episodes from here on out. So, June 2024, that's where we're at the time. Happy Pride.
Happy
Um,
Pride.
Happy Pride. Uh, we're gonna honor ourselves and you all, our listeners, and each other with asking ourselves, how present are you? And I want you to answer it. You're in your car, driving, you're on the treadmill, wherever you're walking, you're just being like, how present am I right now in this moment? What do I need?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Ooh, listen, and whatever come on the other side, just appreciate and value that it came out. Because imagine how many times that you could not answer that question, because that's the journey within itself. So kudos to you. Listen, did you want to tell them what we were talking about before? Because I love that color book. I love that color book
Yes.
so much.
So happy Pride, y'all. We're gonna publish this episode before Pride Month is done. I promise you. Um, Yes, I promise you. Um, so we were talking about Mercury Stardust, one of my favorite influencers on Instagram.
Yes.
They are they call themselves the trans handyman. And I tell you
Yes.
what, I have learned so much from her. Um, and it's just so beautiful and wonderful. And one of the things that she really brought up was safety for our
Mhm.
trans community.
Mhm.
You know, I hadn't thought about this. So as an influencer, we oftentimes like, I mean, you could see where my background's out. You could probably find where my location is at, right? And they were talking about, I mean, they're a way bigger influencer than we'll be right now. But how somebody was posting on their Instagram, like, oh, you live right now, you're my neighbor, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And she posted a video saying, like, hey, y'all need to be careful about the safety and, like how you post these different things. And I started thinking about that. I'm like, actually, I wouldn't want somebody posting where my children are at because
Absolutely.
that's a safety concern
Absolutely.
for me, right? And
Mhm.
Mercury is someone's child.
Mhm.
So, just thinking about for Pride Month, let's think about safety for
Yes.
everyone, like for people who are vulnerable, people who,
Yes.
don't have that privilege and the luxury of feeling safe all the time. So,
Yes.
and also if this is triggering for you because you either lack a safety environment, please seek help. Please, we'll set out a few places
Yes.
for a couple
Be
of websites that
Flag,
are, yeah, that's
Trevor
super.
Project, all have
Yep.
places you can contact.
Yeah, absolutely. We will post that on this episode. But I think that's a very good way of ending our
Yes.
episode, Shara. What you think?
Yes. One more thing I think we should
Yeah.
add, and I agree with you 100%. I will say one thing that I did get from someone who is um, identifies as a part of LGBTQ plus. They said when you're at like pride parades or at events or at like drag bingo or drag brunches, to be mindful that when you're taking pictures, you don't include a lot of the other people in it. So make it core to like you and another person or blur your background out. And I did not think much of it originally, but the person continued on to say, their one of their good friends unfortunately was outed because they were at a pride parade and someone took a
Mm,
picture and they were in the background holding hands with their partner. And I was like, what? They were like, yeah, how? I mean, it's a smaller town. They did, not smaller town. When I say smaller town, I mean like it's not Houston or Washington, D.C. It's like
yeah.
a smaller town than these really big towns. And that picture just happened to be, 5 degrees or separation. And someone found out that that person was out before they ever was able to tell people. And the impact of that was actually not a negative one. It just accelerated something that that person wasn't prepared for, but ultimately did have a positive outcome because there was a lot of support. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, we have to be a little bit more responsible for specifically in spaces And honestly, I'm one of them people that I don't want to be in your picture. You will see me clearly turn my head or put my head down or whatever case may be. I'm always like that awkward person in the back because I don't want to be in your picture. I don't know how you're going to use it. I'm not always camera ready. And I'll just be honest with you, I just don't always enjoy photos. Like I'm not a person that you're going to see with a bunch of photos. So sorry for those who follow me on Instagram. You probably bored out your mind.
I know. Well,
Check the story
whenever you
though.
and I saw each other more often, they always get a lot of pictures from me of you, but they're like, "Where's
I mean,
Shara?"
I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you, Liz, because you could definitely influencer. You be posting so much. I'll be like, people be telling me how you doing, and I'll be like, how you know? Let me text my friend
but
and
just
tell me.
but just remember, social media is not real, right? You
Yeah.
get the real me.
Yes.
And thank you for bringing that up because, and I oftentimes, we may not have that the same experience as others, and we may not understand on what that means, but we do that with our kids, right?
Hmm.
We don't post pictures of other kids in our
That's
Facebook
true.
feeds.
That's right. You don't
So
post it. Yeah.
it's for whatever reason, for safety, um, for whatever reason, like just yeah, I think that's a super valid
Wonderful.
thing. Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
Shara, you got to get to your I'm
I
Dreaming a
know.
Genie episode.
Yes. Listen,
So
EO.
please post pictures.
I will. I'm gonna try to take an actual picture because somebody that we both interviewed recently will be there. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
catch a picture. Yeah. Ew. But listen, y'all, I would love to send this message out. Closing remarks and reflections. First and foremost, if you are out there right now, I know this is Pride Month. I know it's any month, it's any day, it's any time. If you are out there and you don't feel like you have a connection to community or you don't have a safe place, please know that there are people who love you and care for you. You may not have met them yet. And I hope that you find that Liz and I are places for a safe community. So if you want to reach out, please make sure that you use our email address at Liz and Shara at more than words at gmail.com. Okay, I did that right. I got it right. No, it's
No,
Liz and
Liz and
Shara
Shara at
at
morethanwordspodcast.com.
podcast.com. See, that's why Liz always say it because it's too many words and I start getting excitable at the end because
But
that's
we
what I
do
like.
have a Gmail. We do have a Liz and Shara at Gmail too.
We
So
do. You could do both.
you can
Listen,
do both. It's fine.
do either. I will tell you, email is going to get quicker to us. But let me just tell you, like there is a space for you, and know that we may not have all the answers, and our goal is not to have all the answers. But if you are in need in that particular way, we would love to share resources, people in our community who are supportive for us. I think that's the point of this podcast, right? Like we shout out CDI, we shout about shout out about the communities and our listeners. But listen, we're here to optimize this community so that people know that you're not alone. And I am concerned about people making sure that you're not just listening, but you become a part of what we're trying to do here, which is connect each other, support each other as we do our businesses or our goals or just our personal growth. And that's what this is for. So use it how you see fit. Now, give us grace if you don't get an answer immediately because we ain't robots. But just know that you send us something, we will follow up with you and we want to be there for you. So I just want to throw that
Absolutely.
out there. I want to throw that out there. Liz, any closing remarks or reflections for you?
Well, Shara, thank you for being who you are and what you bring to this podcast. And I appreciate you so much. And for our listeners, think about that question that we posed today, how what do I need today? How am I being present? And one of the things that I love asking myself is, what's my reality today?
Ooh, that's a good one. You don't share that one with me. Girl, give me that workbook you working on, hun. I think it's some jewels in there. Listen, y'all, Liz be working on some stuff. Give me that notebook. I know it's something in there.
Because that's what's helping me now. There's my life right now is in transition. And to keep me grounded, I ask myself this every day, every morning. What's my reality today? Where am I at? And it's super powerful. So, that's what I'll leave y'all with today. All right, y'all. Catch us on morethanwordspodcast.com. See y'all later.
Bye, y'all.